on voanews.id and RRI Digital on mobile application. We present various programs for you. Diplomatic Forum, The Session, Indonesian Wonder, Miscellany, Let's Speak Bahasa Indonesia, Indonesian pop and regional songs, international musical entertainment, as well as news and information about Indonesia and abroad. Voice of Indonesia, from Indonesia to the world.
October 28th is commemorated every year in Indonesia as Hari Sumpah Pemuda or Youth Pledge Day. It is an important moment in Indonesia's history that marks the spirit of youth unity in achieving independence. The meaning of the Youth Pledge remains relevant today as a foundation for the life of the nation. So we want to know, how is the role of youth today and tomorrow for brighter Indonesia? Let's deep dive into the issue with today's sources on Voitalk. Ibu Soni Drestiana, Cultural Observer, Randa Sandhita, Youth Focal Point UNDP Indonesia, and Alya Shabira, founder of Speak Out Youth ID. Thank you for joining us. First of all, I want to say yes, thank you for joining us today to Ibu Soni, Alya, and also Randa. I want to know, Bu Soni, how are you today?
I'm good.
And
thank you for inviting me.
Yes, of course, we're glad to have you here. How about you, Alya? Are you doing okay? How are you doing today?
Hi, I'm feeling amazing.
And now, Randa, how are you?
Hi, I'm fantastic as always.
Wow, so we have a good spirit in beginning this interview. Now, to open the interview session, I want to know, Ibu Soni, what core values from Sumpah Pemuda do you think are most relevant to the young generation today, Ibu?
Okay. Thank you for the question. I think that's a very good question. So for me, looking with what our young generation today, the core values that still relevant today is unity in diversity, collaboration, and also social responsibility. I think that's the three most core value that I'm seeing today.
And of course, speaking of today's youth, I want to ask Alya, in what ways can young people contribute to maintaining national unity and diversity nowadays from your point of view?
Okay, thank you so much for the question. So for me, the youth pledge remind us that unity doesn't also mean uniformity. But today, for our today's generation, this means that shared identity without erasing differences. So I think youth in Indonesia have their own culture. It's very diverse, and they have their own way to express themselves, especially on the issues that affecting them today. So I think those differences adding to what the values the unity, they have their own way to do something, and those of the small thing from all over the country is what make us young people the future generation that going to create a better nation, and doing a lot of work for the better future.
Yes, as a part of the youth, you may say, I agree on the part where we are making a new way to encourage the spirit inside of us. True. And I want to ask to Randa from a different angle, of course, because we have amazing sources. Randa, what is the role of youth, from your point of view, in driving Indonesia's economic growth specifically?
Yes, thank you. I think I will start with the context that youth is those categorized from 16 to 30 years old. So these age range in Indonesia, in terms of populations, we have around 64 million of young people in Indonesia that comprise 23% of our total population. That's so huge. And at Development Agency, at United Nations, especially on UNDP, we see this as the forefront of economic. That's why so many people say that this is demographic bonus, and then we have to make sure this momentum be careful on this momentum, because with demographic bonus, we have so many working age that much bigger than dependent age. So in terms of economics, the role of young people, as we can see right now, they are the innovators. Yes, you can see so many social innovation out there. There's so many young entrepreneurs starting their business, go out there and then involved in digital economy, creating content, creators. So many they start activism. They care about their planet and their environment, society as well. And the second one is the one that become productive human capital. We say some of them become mindful consumers. They also become mindful investor for the market. So that's a huge potential for Indonesia. That's why we are working forward to empower youth further in Indonesia with UNDP.
Our youth today is very impactful indeed, because I know innovators is that's a great way to explain, because I know there's a lot of OMKM or MSMEs that are created by the young people, and indeed that are very innovative. Now back to Ibu Soni. Bu, how do you see Indonesian youth apply the values of Sumpah Pemuda today, adapting with globalization while still upholding national culture and identity?
Okay, thank you. For me, what the related of Sumpah Pemuda with the young and culture now is they are very creative now. They do not leave the roots. I mean that they make the culture is more creative now. So all Indonesian and also all over the world can see what is the root of Indonesia. I took the example like we have the Sabang Merauke show, right? That on the 3 days performance with 28,000 sold out tickets. And that based on our culture. The young people create that, re-choreo all and combine all the traditional culture from all Indonesia. And just about 2 weeks ago that there's a Indonesia Menari, where the movement is the choreo. This not only the movement, but it's a symbol of unity, because you can see all the movement from the Sumatra till Papua. So I think the young people now see the culture and then make it creativity, but do not leave the root of them. Thus, I'm proud of that.
Wow. Now we're moving to Alya. Can you give examples of youth movements or initiatives that reflect the spirit of the Youth Pledge today?
Okay, so I think I want to set a little bit of context. So my own organization, Speak Out Youth, is a youth-led movement started from Sukabumi, and we have a lot more chapters now all over Indonesia. And we work for the causes that are actually affecting our daily lives, such as mental health and well-being, quality of education, climate change, and also like gender equality. What I can say is that in the grassroots movement, there are so many youth-led movement right now. You know, there's a lot of like organization where young people, they created it, they leading it, they also bringing more young people into the work that also like affecting their lives. So I think it is quite an example on how actually young people did not waiting around for like the government, let's say, to, oh, you know what, we have a program. But now young people, they started their own movement. They you know, like started from like a very small one until like a big one. We know a lot of young activists in climate change. As an example, we have like Melati Wicet, we have Belai, we have a lot of organization, and on other causes as well. We've seen a lot of young people actually bringing the voice from their community, their own community all over Indonesia, from the grassroots level, they bring it into the national level. So they can act based on that. They can also like bringing the advocacy messages to the stakeholder, you know, like such as the government. And I think like today, even we have the Sumpah Pemuda Festival around GBK, where we can see a lot of like youth-led organization. They open up their booth and showcase their work that, you know, they started by their own. So I think that's pretty much what young people are doing nowadays to amplify the message.
And of course, the young people of nowadays is well associated with technology and social media. Yes. And we want to know, how can technology and social media be used positively to uphold the values of the Youth Pledge?
Okay, so I think we know what we call the digital activism. When a lot of young people, especially Gen Z, they use their own social media, Instagram, TikTok, to share about messages. I know there's a lot of example from like the early 2010, 2011 until now. We've seen so many big movement. Like as an example, I think like the most recent one, the 17+1 pledge, where like so many young people actually getting engaged in the current political situation. Or we can see like other political movement that actually started from the social media. Or it is as simple as, like sharing Instagram template. I think it's one of the digital, it's very much simple digital activism that a lot of young people can do, but the impact is actually as big as, like the activism on the ground. So I think Gen Z right now is very, very smart in using social media to amplify their voices, to share what they've done in their community, and to connect with each other. So then the movement is becoming like a bigger and wider.
And Alya, of course, we want to know, through all of this, you mentioned about digital activism and other ways how the youth can encourage each other and just wanting for a better country and a better improvement for our country. What changes do you hope to see in Indonesia driven by young people?
Okay, so I think what I want to see is that how young people be part of the movement. So we are not only, like our voices definitely need to be taken seriously. Yes, there are a lot of platforms where young people can speak, but to actually, like the stakeholder taking that seriously, I think it's still very much limited. So more spaces for young people to actually engage in the actual conversation. This means like we also be part of the policy-making processes. We're part of the program implemented by the national or like a regional government, so that I think we are part of the conversation, but we also like leading what we want to see, because again, like in the future, 30 years from now, it is our turn to leading the country. So our voices need also like to be taken seriously, and the spaces for us, it should be like reserved.
Wow, great take on that. Thank you so much, Alya, for your input. Now moving on to Randa. As a young economist, what do you think about Indonesia's economy situation today?
Yes, thank you. As you can see, there's so much potential in Indonesia for young people, but there are also challenges that we face right now. In terms of economic perspective, we have so many total youth as total populations, and 23% of young people is not in education, employment, or training. These numbers is a huge concern for us, but our GDP progress is 5% for this quarter too. 2025, there's a report which is shown that our country can maintain the stability despite the global tension and uncertainties right now. But of course, for the past few months, we saw there's so many unemployment happening, and we need to increase more the employability for the young people. But not only on being employed, but also we need to make sure that the quality of the job. Because there's most of young people working in informal sector, and many of them are still underpaid for many of positions. So this is that we need to be put focus further and invest further, not only to the youth, but as part of the ecosystem that put focus on youth empowerment.
And in your experience as a project manager in the UN program, what do Indonesian youth need to develop themselves?
Yeah, the youth, of course, they need to be mindful on how to see an entry points to the market. Let's say what kind of skill that being needed, what's kind of most demanded skills, and then what is the entry point for the market if you want to start a business. So that's why at UNDP Indonesia, we put focus on how to provide access, like leaving no one with access on entrepreneurship, and then access to skills. We provide them capacity building, access to market, and access to finance. Because we see there's so many skill gap and mismatch happening right now in Indonesia. That's why at UNDP not only giving them the program, but also the building an ecosystem. So every players, every stakeholders, including governments, NGOs, communities, and also youth-led business comes together, to making a good ecosystem for other young people can strive together. So this is where we see. So we not only invest to youth, but we also invest to the ecosystem itself.
Invest into the youth and ecosystem. Now, what kind of impact that you want to give to the Indonesian people and economic sector?
Yeah, but this question, I always looking back toward my missions, right? My mission, why I want to work at the development world and why I joined UNDP. So with UNDP, I would like to see a more inclusive of youth-driven economy. So where the growth is not only measured by GDP, but also how much improve the people quality of life, especially those who live in rural areas. That's what I want to see. And with UNDP, we can create an ecosystem where youth-led innovations become part of the Indonesia economic DNA. Of course, this is where we can connect to finance, youth to finance, sustainability of impact of their movement, of their business. We also can measure their social impact that they make in Indonesia. So we can show the world that is the potential of Indonesia. They can invest more, and of course, it's bring more joy and leaving no one behind in terms of development.
Wow, that is a great message from Randa. And now, lastly, I want to ask Ibu Soni. Bu Soni, to end this interview session of this commemoration of the Youth Pledge, what message would you like to convey to Indonesian youth about their role in continuing the spirit of Sumpah Pemuda in the future?
Okay, from my side, I think keep creative and then proud to be in Indonesia. There are many opportunities to collaborate in this country, and do not become the Android generation who only like a robot and machine, because we have a culture there, and then you have a lot of opportunities to digging all our culture and spread it into the world.
Don't be an Android generation. That's one way to put all of this conversation together. And I want to say to all of the sources today, thank you so much for joining us on Voice of Indonesia. From unity and innovation to empowerment and resilience, today's discussions remind us that Sumpah Pemuda spirit is still alive in Indonesian youth. Thank you, Ibu Soni, Alya, and Randa for joining and sharing your thoughts on Voice of Indonesia. I'm Unica. See you on the next Voitalk.
Voice of Indonesia, the overseas service of Radio Republic Indonesia, broadcast in 9 language services: English, French, German, Dutch,